The Deep Dive is back, and today we are charting the journey of an artist whose success wasn't merely achieved. It was earned through a continuous, decades-long effort to redefine the boundaries of American performance.
Yeah.
We are diving into the architecture of an icon, the actress and producer, Viola Davis.
It's such an essential exploration for you because when we talk about success in the entertainment industry, we often talk about stars, but Davis is something else.
Something more.
She's a monument. She is consistently recognized critically and institutionally as one of the greatest actors of her generation, full stop.
I mean, we're talking about consensus greatness here. The New York Times didn't just mention her in passing.
Oh, not at all.
They ranked her 9th on their 2020 list of the greatest actors of the entire 21st century. She is shaping the canon in real time.
Absolutely. But what makes this deep dive so critical is understanding the sheer statistical impossibility of her achievement set. I mean, she belongs to one of the rarest clubs in competitive performance history.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. She's an EGOT winner, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. That's a club that, even today, only includes, what, 18 people who have won all 4 competitively?
18 people, that's it. But the sources point out she has achieved something even more specific, even rarer than that.
Right. This is the key distinction.
That's right. Davis is one of only 3 performers in history, alongside the absolute legends Helen Hayes and Rita Moreno, to achieve both the Triple Crown of acting and the EGOT status.
So for you listening, if you're unfamiliar with the nuance, the Triple Crown of acting means winning a competitive Emmy, Oscar, and Tony, specifically for acting roles.
The EGOT just adds the Grammys, which can be for anything.
Exactly. So to be one of only 3 people to hold both titles, meaning all 4 awards were won competitively and the first 3 were specifically for acting, that is just a stunning convergence of talent and opportunity.
It speaks to her total mastery of every single medium: stage, screen, and sound.
And it's not just the awards. Her influence extends so far beyond the trophy shelf.
Well, look at Time magazine. They named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world.
And not just once.
Not once, but twice.
Huh?
In 2012 and then again in 2017. That tells you that her impact is cultural and, frankly, political, not just artistic.
So that really sets the scale for our deep dive today. Our mission is to trace the trajectory of that success. We're not just listing the awards, that would be easy.
Right.
We are focusing on the incredible tension and contrast built into her story, from her profoundly difficult roots in South Carolina and Rhode Island through a rigorous but critically questioned classical training.
And ultimately analyzing the specific barrier-breaking roles that secured these history-making titles.
Exactly. We need to understand how the woman born on the Singleton plantation evolved into a figure who, as Meryl Streep said, carved a place on the Mount Rushmore of 21st century acting.
See, if we truly want to understand the fire and the depth that Viola Davis brings to her roles, we have to start at the very beginning.
You have to.
Because her life is just defined by these profound contrasts. Viola Davis was born August 11, 1965, and the physical location of her birth immediately injects this incredible historical weight into her narrative.
Where exactly was she born?
She was born in St. Matthews, South Carolina, specifically on her grandmother's farm. And that farm was situated on the Singleton plantation.
Wow. That detail right there is a historical lightning rod. To be born on land that was once the site of enslaved labor,
Yeah.
and then to become this universally recognized cultural titan, that juxtaposition is almost impossible to grasp. It speaks volumes about the arc of American history in just one lifetime.
Precisely. However, the years that followed presented a different but equally challenging form of struggle. Her family moved north, and she was raised in Central Falls, Rhode Island.
In conditions that she has described with, brutal honesty.
Oh, she's incredibly candid. She calls it abject poverty and dysfunction.
And when she speaks about her childhood, the material is just unflinching. She wasn't just poor. She describes living in environments that were actively hostile to human dignity.
She recalls apartments that were rat-infested and condemned. So the material conditions of her upbringing were incredibly harsh, placing this immense pressure on the family.
And what did her parents do?
Her father worked as a horse trainer, and her mother held multiple demanding jobs: a maid, a factory worker, a homemaker, just to support their large family. Davis is the second youngest of 6 children.
6 kids.
6 kids. And this environment wasn't just about material deprivation. It was also defined by a deep-seated awareness of social injustice.
And that awareness came directly from her mother, right? It links her personal story to the broader struggle for civil rights.
Absolutely. Her mother was an activist during the civil rights movement, and Davis recalls a moment that is just, it's almost unbelievable in its early introduction to political struggle.
This is a story about being in jail.
Yes. She recalls being taken to jail with her mother when she was only 2 years old after her mother was arrested during a civil rights protest.
2 years old?
Think about the consciousness that moment instills, that the fight for human dignity isn't some academic concept, but a lived, immediate reality from your earliest memories.
So, okay, we have this environment of extreme poverty, political awareness, and struggle. The question then becomes, how does that harsh reality translate into the delicate, rarefied air of classical performance training? Where did the path to the arts even begin?
Well, the initial path started locally, and it was facilitated by some really crucial support programs. She attended Central Falls High School, and she credits her involvement in the arts there for igniting her passion for stage acting.
So she found an outlet.
She did, and she wasn't relying solely on raw talent. She was involved in the federal TRIO programs Upward Bound and TRIO Student Support Services.
And these are programs specifically designed to help students from disadvantaged backgrounds, right, to get them on the path to college.
Exactly. They helped them navigate that high-stakes journey. That support created the pipeline for her. She first graduated from Rhode Island College with a BA in theater in 1988, which was a necessary foundational step.
And then came the big one, the institution that defines elite American acting, the Juilliard School.
That's the pivot point.
Yes.
She spent 4 intense years at Juilliard, graduating as a member of the drama division Group 22 from 89 to 93. And Juilliard is where you receive that kind of formal technical rigor that prepares you for Shakespeare, for Chekhov, for the giants of the Western canon.
But this is also where we encounter one of the key, most fascinating insights she revealed much, much later in a 2025 interview, a really searing critique of that very education.
So some of her...
Okay, let's spend some real time unpacking this because it's one of the most powerful and potentially controversial statements she has ever made about her career. She felt that her rigorous training there primarily equipped her to be a better white actress.
It is a stunning statement, but it's rooted in a deep critical analysis of theatrical tradition and, frankly, systemic expectations. Her point wasn't that the training was bad.
No, she acknowledged the technical benefits.
Right, but that the curriculum's foundational repertoire predisposes the actor for a very specific type of role and a very specific cultural voice. She felt perfectly trained for classic roles from Shakespeare, Chekhov, O'Neill, and Strindberg.
So what's the problem with that? For her identity and for the types of stories she felt she needed to tell?
Because, she argued, that formal technical training denies the human being behind all that.
Wow.
It prioritizes technique over inherent lived experience. She observed that as a Black actress in the industry, the metric for success and for range often required her to consistently perform white work.
The implication being that Black actors are required to adapt to a white cultural framework to prove their versatility.
Yes.
Whereas white actors are often just centered in that framework naturally.
Exactly. And the source material provides a clear, really resonant example of this artistic disconnect. She specifically mentioned Tennessee Williams.
What did she say about him?
She said she could do the best that I can with Tennessee Williams, but he writes for fragile white women. It's not me. She's not criticizing the beauty of his writing.
No, of course not.
She's criticizing the professional requirement that she contorts herself to fit narratives that are fundamentally foreign to her own life experience. This isn't just about race. It's about authenticity and the soul of the performance.
This critique moves beyond just personal frustration then. It becomes a structural condemnation of the drama curriculum itself.
It does. And here is where the thread connects directly to the greatest triumphs of her career. She opined that crucial Black playwrights, specifically August Wilson and Lorraine Hansberry, who documented the complex, profound realities of Black American life, are often not studied in the same foundational, rigorous way as O'Neill or Shakespeare in these elite institutions.
So the work that spoke directly to her soul, to her experience of poverty and struggle, was marginalized in her classical education.
That's it.
So she is basically saying, I was given the tools of a master craftsman, but I was only shown how to apply them to houses I couldn't live in. That created a deficit, a hunger for material that actually resonated.
That deficit becomes the driving force of her entire stage career. She left Juilliard with world-class technique, but her professional necessity was to find the stories, the August Wilson stories, that truly allowed her to leverage her lived truth and not just her technical prowess.
It's a remarkable piece of self-reflection from someone at the absolute pinnacle of her field.
To essentially say, the thing that made me famous was the thing my school told me wasn't classical enough.
So the moment Davis steps out of that academic environment and onto the professional stage, the narrative tension we just discussed, it resolves itself with just astonishing clarity.
It really does.
The work she felt was missing, the work of August Wilson, immediately becomes the defining material of her theatrical life.
That immediate synergy is what's so fascinating here. Her first professional stage role was actually Shakespeare in 1992. She played Dennis in an off-Broadway production of As You Like It.
Okay, so she starts with the classics.
But when she made her Broadway debut in 1996, it was in an original August Wilson play, Seven Guitars, where she played the character Vera.
And the critical praise she received for Seven Guitars wasn't just, polite applause.
Yeah.
It was a realization that this material, rooted in the Black experience, allowed her talent to fully bloom on the grandest stage.
It established her voice, it showed that the classical training served her well, but it was the material that reflected her reality that made her undeniable.
Right.
We should also pause for a brief moment of Hollywood reality check, though. While she was establishing herself on stage, she gained her crucial SAG card in 1996 for playing a nurse who hands a vial of blood to Timothy Hutton in The Substance of Fire.
The classic one-day, one-line role that every actor chasing that union status knows so well. And the source material confirms the compensation, $518.
$518, exactly. It's a fun anecdote, but it shows the hustle, the sheer variety of work required to survive in the industry, even as her artistic soul was being nourished by August Wilson's poetry on Broadway.
Okay, now let's talk about the accolades. This is where her journey to the Triple Crown begins. She earns her first competitive Tony Award in 2001.
That Tony was for Best Featured Actress in a Play, and crucially, the play was another August Wilson masterpiece, King Hedley II.
Another Wilson play.
And this was a challenging, profoundly weighty role. She played Tanya, a 35-year-old mother embroiled in the complex struggles of poverty and survival, fighting fiercely and eloquently for the right to abort a pregnancy.
The character of Tanya is just a vehicle for such powerful social commentary, showcasing desperation and strength in equal measure.
It is.
This performance directly contradicts that idea of the fragile white woman roles she talked about in her Juilliard critique. This was pure, unadulterated human resilience.
And it gave her an opportunity to put that sophisticated classical technique, the breath control, the voice projection, the ability to sustain dramatic tension into a story that mattered deeply to her. That 2001 Tony win didn't just mark the start of her Triple Crown, it validated her artistic core.
It proved that stories of Black American struggle are universal dramatic material, worthy of the highest classical honors.
Absolutely. And the connection to August Wilson just deepens almost a decade later when she wins her second competitive Tony.
In 2010.
In 2010, she returned to Wilson's world for the revival of Fences. This time, she wasn't in a supporting role. She won Best Performance by a leading actress in a play for playing Rose Maxon,
Starring opposite Denzel Washington.
who was also directing. This performance just solidified her position as a generational stage talent.
I remember the critical reaction to that performance.
Yeah.
It was immediate and it was overwhelming.
Ben Brantley, the legendary theater critic for the New York Times, called her performance extraordinary. He didn't just praise it, he practically prophesied her future, suggesting that she would pick up another Tony. And of course she did.
She did.
This victory was a defining career moment, distinguishing her as an actor who can carry the central emotional weight of a monumental drama.
So if we just pause here and connect the dots back to everything we've talked about, the picture is undeniable.
It's crystal clear.
Her two competitive Tony Awards, the foundation of her eventual Triple Crown achievement, were secured through performances in works written exclusively by August Wilson.
The exact type of Black American playwright she noted was neglected in her formal drama training.
It's a profound irony, isn't it? The establishment defined excellence one way, based on a Eurocentric canon. But her greatest, most critically acclaimed stage work was rooted in a deep humanist tradition that she had to seek out for herself.
She found her voice, and it was the voice of August Wilson.
It's just an incredible synergy. The actor who challenged the curriculum proved the marginalized work was the source of her own classical greatness.
So while she was cementing this legendary status on Broadway, her career trajectory in film and television was a slower, more deliberate ascent. It was defined by small, powerful roles that eventually led to domination.
Her early film career showcases a really interesting pattern of collaboration. She worked frequently with director Steven Soderbergh right around the turn of the millennium.
She did. She appeared in films like Solaris and the critically acclaimed ensemble drama Traffic.
Right.
And for an absolute piece of trivia that highlights how ubiquitous she was becoming, she provided the uncredited voice of the parole board interrogator in the iconic opening scene of Ocean's 11 in 2001,
Which Soderbergh produced.
which he produced. She also had small parts in films like Kate and Leopold and Aunt Joan Fisher, often playing nurses, officers, or authoritative figures, those roles that typically go unnoticed.
But the moment that truly forced Hollywood to pause and take notice of her cinematic power was the 2008 film adaptation of Doubt.
Yes.
This is a perfect example of how a limited performance delivered with absolute precision can just eclipse an entire film.
That role as Mrs. Miller was a cinematic explosion. It earned her first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The source material for the film was already critically acclaimed, but Davis's performance, which consists of just a few intense scenes, gave the film its emotional core.
This is the kind of performance that becomes legendary precisely because of its brevity.
It does. The late great film critic Roger Ebert summed it up perfectly. He stated that her performance lasts about 10 minutes, but it is the emotional heart and soul of Doubt.
Wow.
And he didn't stop there. He specifically praised her scene with Meryl Streep, describing it as a confrontation of two equals that generates terrifying power.
Two equals. I mean, the recognition of that performance, an Oscar, a Golden Globe, and SAG nominations, it wasn't just an acknowledgement of her talent. It was a signal to casting directors everywhere that she could deliver maximum impact with minimal screen time.
It established her as a genuine cinematic heavyweight.
It was the inflection point, really.
It was. After decades of grinding on stage and taking smaller roles, Doubt catapulted her into the conversation as a bankable cinematic force. But after conquering the stage and establishing this brief but unforgettable power on film, she made a fascinating pivot into the world of long-form episodic television.
That pivot ushered in the How to Get Away with Murder era, which began in 2014. And this was a massive undertaking, a network legal drama, executive produced by Shonda Rhimes, a titan of modern television.
Starring as the formidable and deeply complicated criminal defense attorney and professor, Annalise Keating was a monumental shift from the stage. She committed to 6 seasons of demanding weekly character work.
And the power of the show wasn't just in the plot twists.
No, it was in Davis's ability to maintain the high-wire tension and the emotional vulnerability of Keating week after week after week.
And this is where the Emmy achievement comes in, which secured the second component of her Triple Crown.
That Emmy win in September 2015 was genuinely historic. Davis became the first African-American actress to win the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series.
The first.
Think about that for a moment. Decades into television history, and she was the first to achieve this particular competitive honor in the lead drama category.
So this completion of the Emmy requirement, following her 2 competitive Tonys, left only the Oscars standing between her and the Triple Crown. But let's just pause on the significance of the HTGA-WM run itself. It wasn't just about one win.
Not at all. It was about sustained excellence and the breaking of barriers regarding the portrayal of complex, messy, and commanding Black female leads in network television.
Yeah, Annalise Keating was not a simple hero.
Not at all. She was deeply flawed, powerful, and often ruthless. And Davis just inhabited that complexity, earning 2 consecutive Screen Actors Guild Awards for outstanding performance by a female actor in a drama series in 2014 and 2015.
And that consecutive recognition from her peers, the SAG Award, is such a potent indicator of how highly her work was regarded within the industry itself.
Exactly. She received another Primetime Emmy nomination in 2016 for the role, confirming that the performance was not an anomaly, but a sustained, detailed character study that redefined what a leading role could look like in primetime drama.
So her tenure as Annalise Keating really elevated the show, elevated the Shondaland brand, and more importantly, elevated the conversation around representation and character depth in television. So she is 2/3 of the way to the Triple Crown, Tony's secured, Emmy secured television dominance established. And the final hurdle, the Oscar, was cleared by returning to the material that defined her stage mastery, August Wilson.
It's a beautiful narrative symmetry, isn't it? The fences double dip. In 2016, she reprised her Tony-winning role as Rose Maxon for the film adaptation.
Again, with Denzel Washington.
Once again directed by and co-starring Denzel Washington. The performance had already been road-tested and perfected on Broadway, but transferring that nuanced stage performance to the intimacy of film required a complete retuning of her acting instrument.
And the awards community responded by crowning her unequivocally.
She swept the supporting actress category for the 2016 film year. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, the Golden Globe, the Screen Actors Guild Award, and the BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Role. It was a clean sweep.
And the Oscar win was the final piece that completed the Triple Crown of acting.
It was.
This made her the first Black performer in history to achieve the Triple Crown of acting. The Tony in 2001, the Emmy in 2015, the Oscar in 2017 for the 2016 film. That is not just an award, it's a permanent marker in performance history.
And that Oscar nomination wasn't just a win, it was another milestone in her record-breaking nomination history. The 2016 nomination for Fences was her third overall. This made her the first Black actress in history to reach 3 Academy Award nominations. She was consistently setting precedents simply by showing up and delivering monumental performances.
Now, we absolutely must discuss the other major film role that brought her profound recognition, but also caused her deep personal conflict.
Yes.
Her second Oscar nomination in 2011 for The Help, where she played Aibileen Clark. This is such a critical point that speaks to her artistic integrity.
It is perhaps the most compelling insight into her professional ethics. Because despite earning a Best Actress in a Leading Role nomination, a career highlight for most actors, Davis later expressed profound professional regret over taking the role.
Why? What was the core of her regret regarding a film that brought her such immense visibility and critical acclaim?
She stated quite powerfully that she felt she had betrayed herself. The source material highlights that her issue was not with her collaborators, whom she admired greatly.
It was the story itself.
It was with the narrative itself. She felt the story and the portrayal were not truthful about the actual lives, experiences, and agency of the Black characters. She felt the film centered the white perspective rather than providing a deep, complex depiction of the lives of Black domestic workers in the South.
That is a fascinating conflict. It highlights the tension between maximizing a career opportunity and maintaining your artistic conscience. And she chose integrity over celebration.
And that decision to speak publicly about regretting a role that delivered her a massive platform, it just underscores her commitment to authenticity, echoing her earlier critique of Juilliard. She's not willing to just be a technically brilliant performer.
The story has to serve a greater truth.
It has to, and that commitment to narrative truth continued to drive her record-breaking milestones into the next decade.
Okay, so what came next?
In 2020, she demonstrated her continuing power by receiving her 4th Academy Award nomination, this time for Best Actress in a Leading Role, playing the fiery blues icon in Mara Rainey's Black Bottom.
And this single nomination broke 2 major records instantly.
It did. She became the most nominated Black actress in the history of the Academy Awards, surpassing her own record. And, crucially, she became the first Black actress to be nominated for Best Actress more than once.
That latter record is staggering. It confirms her place in the absolute upper echelon of cinematic leads, shattering a ceiling that had existed for decades.
And she also won the SAG Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role for Mara Rainey, once again earning that crucial recognition from her peers.
Outside of these deep, complex dramas, though, her modern filmography shows her adaptability. I mean, she can move seamlessly between high art and high-octane global franchises.
She has become a staple of the DC universe as the cold, amoral government operative Amanda Waller. She's played the character across major titles: Suicide Squad in 2016, The Suicide Squad in 2021, and Black Adam in 2022.
And she's still doing it.
Still doing it. She also reprised the voice role in the animated series Creature Commandos in 2024 and is confirmed to return in the rebooted DC universe. This longevity in a major cinematic universe really speaks to her cultural relevance.
But she balances that massive franchise work with demanding prestige dramatic roles, like in Steve McQueen's heist thriller Widows in 2018.
That film was a masterclass in tension and leadership. Eric Kohn, a noted film critic, emphasized that the film largely belongs to Davis. The actress has never been more commanding.
And then, in 2022, The Woman King.
Yes, she starred in and championed the historical action film The Woman King, playing General Naniska, the leader of the all-female military unit, the EGOT. This was a physical, emotional, and powerful commitment to bringing a marginalized historical narrative to the blockbuster stage.
And speaking of bringing history to life, she also tackled the daunting task of playing former First Lady Michelle Obama in the 2022 series The First Lady. That is a role that comes with an intense amount of public scrutiny.
It certainly did. The portrayal drew criticism on social media, especially concerning specific mannerisms. But Davis, true to form, responded by doubling down on her commitment to artistic choice.
Right, she didn't apologize for it.
No. She called the disapproval incredibly hurtful, but defended her process, emphasizing that it is my job as a leader to make bold choices. It shows that even when portraying a beloved public figure, she prioritizes courageous interpretation over pleasing every single critic.
So we have charted the Triple Crown, the Tony, the Emmy, the Oscar. We now arrive at the final exclusive component that places her name alongside the absolute titans of performance.
Yeah.
The competitive Grammy.
The G in EPOW.
What was the last piece of the EGOT puzzle, and how did she secure it?
The final piece was the Grammy Award, and she achieved it in February 2023. She won the award for Best Audiobook, Narration, and Storytelling Recording.
And the material was?
The material was her 2022 memoir, Finding Me.
That's a highly specific but a really fitting category. The EGOT requires a competitive win, and this award acknowledges her ability to perform narrative, not just dialogue or song.
It's such a key distinction. The EGOT is often completed through musical scores or non-competitive awards, but Davis completed hers with a competitive win for narrative storytelling, cementing her power as an unparalleled communicator.
So the moment that trophy was lifted, the architecture was complete.
It was complete. She became the 18th person in history to achieve full competitive EGOT status.
And the memoir itself, Finding Me, is inextricably linked to her literary and production endeavors.
Absolutely. Beyond the memoir, she also ventured into children's literature, writing the sequel to the classic picture book Corduroy, titled Corduroy Takes a Bow, which was published in 2018.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she noted that the beloved bear had always held a special place in her life, first when she read the original as a child and then reading it to her adopted daughter, Genesis.
And her life extends significantly beyond her own performance and writing. She is a powerhouse producer through JuVee Productions,
which she co-founded with her husband, actor Julius Tenen, whom she married in 2003.
And JuVee Productions is such a critical component of her legacy. It serves as a platform to tell the exact kind of complex, truthful stories she felt were missing from her classical education.
Their work ranges across film, television, and digital content. Significantly, in December 2024, the company received the inaugural Faith and Spirituality in Entertainment honor. This signals a very clear mandate that their focus is not solely on commercial success, but on producing content that reflects deep human values, perhaps tying back to the spiritual resilience required to endure her childhood.
Which brings us full circle to her foundations, that rigorous and often traumatic childhood, defined by poverty and early activism, directly informs her profound dedication to activism and philanthropy today.
That link is powerfully personal. Since 2014, she has collaborated extensively with the Hunger Is campaign, aiming to eradicate childhood hunger across the country. And this isn't just a celebrity endorsement.
No, she uses her own lived history as the fuel for this campaign.
And her recollection of that childhood hunger is truly stark, detailing the desperate measures she had to take just to survive.
She was extremely candid about the daily struggle, saying, "I grew up in abject poverty. I did everything that you could possibly imagine to get food. I rummaged in the garbage cans. I stole from the local store constantly."
She doesn't couch the language. She describes the reality of survival for a hungry child, which makes her commitment to eradication, not just awareness, a profound personal mandate. She views eradicating hunger as essential to giving every child a fair chance at the American dream.
And her philanthropy isn't just global or national. She has continually reinvested in Central Falls, Rhode Island, the very place where she experienced those challenging conditions.
Her local support is unwavering. When her hometown public library in Central Falls was facing closure in 2011, she donated funds to keep it open.
Wow.
In 2018, she donated funds directly to her alma mater, Central Falls High School, specifically for its theater program, ensuring the next generation has access to the arts that saved her life.
And that focus on dignity and health also extends to her partnership with Vaseline.
Right. She partnered with Vaseline to promote the Vaseline Healing Project, which provides dermatological care to those affected by poverty globally. This project understands that healthcare must include basic dignity.
And it connects back to her hometown.
It does. Reflecting her local commitment, this partnership included sponsoring a free community health center in Central Falls in 2016, providing essential medical services right where she grew up.
And her activism, much like her mother's, has directly confronted systemic issues of injustice.
That lineage of activism is so clear. In 2018, she served as executive producer for Two Sides, a documentary series that specifically explored police brutality towards the African American community.
So it's not abstract for her.
No. Whether through her production company, her presence at events like the Women's March in Los Angeles, or her public advocacy on hunger, she is relentlessly using the power of her position to affect social change. The activism she witnessed as a 2-year-old child in the back of a jail cell is now manifested in her status as a global producer and advocate.
So we have journeyed through an unparalleled career, from being born on a plantation in South Carolina and enduring years of poverty in Rhode Island, to achieving total dominance across stage, film, television, and narrative recording.
It's incredible.
It is the definition of the American dream, built not on luck, but on profound, unrelenting talent and commitment to truth.
And her success isn't just measured by the EGOT, it's measured by the ceilings she shattered. She holds the record for most film wins for an actress at the Screen Actors Guild Awards.
6 overall.
6 overall SAG wins. She is the most awarded African-American performer in that history. Her 4th Oscar nomination made her the first actress of color to achieve 4 nominations and the first Black actress to be nominated for Best Actress more than once. She has continuously redefined what high achievement looks like in the industry.
And the scope of her impact is perhaps best summarized by her peer, Meryl Streep, when Davis received her Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2017. Streep didn't just praise the acting, she praised the whole person.
Streep stated that Davis has carved a place for herself on the Mount Rushmore of the 21st century. And critically, Streep pointed out that Davis's importance is marked not just by her unassailable, undeniable, deep and rich and true gifts as an artist,
By her character.
but by her willingness to speak about it and take on responsibility for it. It is the integration of the art and the activism that defines her.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, watching the world of performance evolve? We discussed how Viola Davis felt her rigorous Juilliard training prepared her for the world of classical white-centric drama.
Right.
Yet we know, without a doubt, that her most fundamental and career-defining accolades, her 2 competitive Tony wins and her Oscar win for the same role, are rooted in the profound specificity of Black American life as captured by August Wilson.
It is a stunning professional realization. The material she felt was marginalized was the wellspring of her universal glory. She has proved that the work focused on the specific struggles and triumphs of Black America is not niche, but deeply, classically universal.
So now that she has achieved every possible mainstream accolade, establishing her power as definitive and universal, how will Viola Davis's established power challenge the fundamental assumptions about classical theater? And what truly defines universal dramatic excellence in the next generation of performers and playwrights? Her legacy ensures that the answer will be far broader than what was taught in our textbooks. That is a provocative thought for you to mull over until our next deep dive.